So, the stock market, currency exchanges are being affected by the gigantic amount of sanctions that the West has imposed on the Russian economy. The Russian stock market fell approximately 50% last week, and now, again, markets are opening on Monday, and the ruble has fallen a significant amount of percent. Some numbers I'm seeing 30, 40, some say 50%. It's hard to tell because, again, the markets are fluid. And so I want to read this from the AP. Ordinary Russians face the prospect of higher prices and crimped foreign travel as Western sanctions over the invasion of Ukraine sent the ruble plummeting, leading uneasy people to line up at banks and ATMs on Monday in a country that has seen more than one currency disaster in the post-Soviet era. The Russian currency plunged about 30% against the US dollar after Western nations announced moves to block some Russian banks from the SWIFT international payment system and to restrict Russia's use of its massive foreign currency reserves. The exchange rate later recovered ground after SWIFT action by Russia's central bank. But the economic squeeze got tighter when the U.S. announced more sanctions later Monday to immobilize any assets of the Russian central bank in the United States or held by Americans. The Biden administration estimated that the move could impact hundreds of billions of dollars of Russian funding. Biden administration officials said Germany, France, the UK, Italy, Japan, European Union, and others. So, Germany, France, the UK, and the European Union. Well, I guess the UK is technically not in the EU anymore. But I'm glad that Germany, as well as the European Union, is doing something. That's great. Is targeting the Russia Central Bank. Tyler Kustra, an assistant professor of politics and international relations at the University of Nottingham, said he couldn't recall a similar example from the past of an economy brought to its knees by global sanctions. I'm just saying, there have been world wars that have been fought because of economic fallouts from other world wars. I'm just throwing this out there, folks. This is the West causing a currency crisis for Russia. Russians wary that sanctions would deal a crippling blow to the economy have been flocking to banks and ATMs for days, with reports of social media of long lines and machines running out. People in some Central European countries also rushed to pull money from subsidiaries of Russia's state-owned Sberbank. After it was hit with international sanctions. Moscow's Department of Public Transport warned city residents over the weekend that they might experience problems with using Apple Pay, Google Pay, and Samsung Pay to pay fares for VTB, one of Russian banks facing sanctions handling card payments in Moscow's metro, buses, and, so there you go. You can read the rest of this, but I'm going to riff on it. Folks, so this is a problem. Now again, this is a scenario, in my opinion, where I am highly concerned. And I think that there is no good outcome of anything. There's no fucking good outcome anywhere for any of this at all. Now, a lot of people are suggesting to the West to do nothing as Russia invades Ukraine because, Russian civilians don't deserve to be hurt because Putin is a psychopath who wants to take over another country. Now, I agree with the idea that Russian civilians do not deserve to be hurt because their leader is a psychopath, in the same way that when Trump drone striked innocent children, when Biden drone striked innocent children, I don't want to deal with the fact that, what if I couldn't use my Cash App because Biden drone striked 7 kids in Afghanistan after ending the war, quote unquote, right? So I understand that we are in a position, we being just society, humanity, like the globe, the earth, right, is in a position where there is a no-win scenario, right? There is no way to sanction a country and for that country's leaders to go, they're sanctioning me, so what I'm going to do is make sure my citizens can thrive. That's not going to happen. Putin isn't going to say, all right, I'm going to cut my pay, I'm going to personally make sure that all the citizens of Russia are good to go. The oligarchs of Russia aren't going to be like, oh, fuck, we're getting sanctioned. Well, you know, I'm going to be fine. I'm still going to sit on my golden toilet, so I'm just going to make sure that the Russian civilians are going to be good. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that, right? Now, does that mean that the West shouldn't impose sanctions? Again, should the West do nothing? I don't know. This is a very difficult scenario. I'm not here to tell you what they should or shouldn't do. I am not nearly educated enough on this to be saying that the West should do this and Russia should do that. Like, there's a lot of coulda, woulda, shoulda. But also, we have to understand the people are getting fleeced no matter what, right? Putin's going to be fine. Putin's going to sit on his golden toilet. He's going to eat the most, like, best food he likes. He's going to be able to play any video games he wants. He's going to be able to, like, buy any $1 million paintings he wants. He's going to be able to do whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't have to worry about money. The people that are living in his tyrannical government, in the country that he is occupying, they're going to get fucked. And again, the people of Ukraine are getting fucked. And this is going to probably cause a global, financial disaster all across the world. And again, it goes to say, like, what should the West do? Should they go to war with Russia? 2 nuclear powers going at each other? One, like, Putin has already threatened nuclear weapons, nuclear strikes against multiple countries, Finland, Sweden, Ukraine, the West in general. I don't know. Now, again, the goal of sanctions, right, is to make the oligarchs punished. They should be punished. Obviously, they should be punished. They are murdering innocent civilians in an offensive and imperialistic war. And that's bad. But I am very skeptical that the oligarchs or Putin are going to be facing any actual issues here. I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to try their best to make up for the losses by taking it out of the population of Russia. It's just like, this is just horrible. Now, again, it's sensationalist to say, oh, the ruble drops 30%. It's crazy to watch. It's crazy to watch all of this happening. And, you know, in my opinion, the better solutions would be for the West to get off of oil. If the West didn't need oil, what's Russia going to do? That's one of the ways that Russia makes a lot of money is oil, right? So if the West and the United States and so forth just stopped being dependent on oil, if we, like, put trillions of dollars into investing in green energy infrastructure and cutting off our reliance on energy, that would move the needle without necessarily hurting people directly. You know, I don't know. And this is why, again, borders are stupid. Like, leaders are stupid, right? Like the idea that Putin, a bald freak, like, and again, I don't mean to be rude to bald people, but, you know, Putin's bald. I take the position where I like to mock world leaders for things that they are, potentially not too happy with, because I think it's funny. But maybe I shouldn't say that, and I accept that. But either way, he's a little bitch boy, beta male freak. He's a loser. Let's be honest here. Like, Zelensky, who has his own share of problems, absolutely, has basically overnight become everything Putin has tried his entire life to project. Putin has always tried to have people, he's tried to lie to people to convince them that he's like a strong alpha male. Zelensky has done that literally in the span of a couple hours after the invasion started. And I'm sure that makes Putin very upset. But the idea that there's even such a thing as a strong man leader. Huh? Like, you're telling me a leader can just, like, why is a military going to invade a sovereign nation because the leader told them to? Huh? Like, is this the best society we can organize? Where it's like, oh, I'm going to go murder an orphanage because the dear leader told me to? That's religious. Like, think about it. Like, worshiping politicians, worshiping leaders is religious. It is the same level of religiosity that is found in, like, the church. It's just, in a slightly different format. I don't know what the best solutions here are. Like, I don't know if there is a good solution. But what I can tell you is that the West, we need to be focusing on energy, renewable energy. Again, climate change is coming. The climate crisis is going to destroy the planet. People are fighting over these small patches of land. Meanwhile, this land won't even exist in 60 years from now. By the time, I'm Vladimir Putin's age, let's be honest, right? A lot of these countries that we're, bombing and killing people for, they're going to have significantly less landmass, right? So, this is something, I don't know, and the fallout from this is going to be, it's going to be crazy. Russian civilians do not deserve to be hurt because their leader is a fucking psychopath. That said, should the West just do nothing? Sanctions will hurt civilians. But so does war. Again, this is a very, very difficult thing. And that's why I don't want to, the only thing I will tell you that the West and the United States specifically needs to get their shit together on is renewable energy, green energy, technology. That is, in my opinion, the most important thing, and it's not going to hurt any civilians indirectly or directly. As far as sanctions go, I support punishing Putin for doing this. I am not an expert on how to do that without hurting civilians of Russia, if that's even possible. Again, I don't think it is possible to inflict any pain on Putin without Putin deflecting that pain onto his, oppressed peoples. The best case scenario I can think of is the people see, oh shit, Putin's fucking us up here. Let's overthrow this bitch ass. Okay. That's a good scenario if Russia revolts again against their new czar. I mean, the Russian people revolted against the czar before. They overthrew an emperor before. So why can't they do it again? I don't know. All I know is that Putin has nuclear bombs. So that's all I know. But it's scary. This whole thing is scary. If you look into the history of sanctions, that is exactly the purpose, for the people of the country to rise up and revolt. I agree. That should happen. That's the ideal scenario. But again, how many people will die in a Russian Revolution against the guy who has nuclear bombs? Did Nick 2 have nuclear bombs when he was revolted against in the early 20th century? No, right? Putin has fucking nukes. It's scary. We are living through a very scary era. And again, I'm just being honest with you. I am not educated enough to tell you what's going to happen. What I can tell you is that it's not going to be good for anyone. It's not going to be good for anyone. And again, Russian civilians don't deserve it, but what else is there to do? I don't know. And again, if people have recommendations, if people have literature to send me, I would love to hear it. But it's going to get bad. The ruble dropping 30 to 40% overnight. That's not good. It's not good.